Peter Piper picked a bag of pickled peppers. Okay.
Sorry, I had a burp. I didn't know I was gonna do that.
That was a good one. Hey everyone, welcome to Coworker Calamity, the podcast where we try to make sense of the chaos that comes from being young women who have recently entered the quote-unquote real world. My name is Caroline, and today's episode is titled The Anatomy of a Good Tale. Once again, I am joined by my coworker, co-host, and the woman who I could never lose in a crowd, Miss Isa!
Hi. That's my Jennifer Coolidge. That's my Jennifer Coolidge. Hi.
I legit thought you were trying to be like Smeagol or something.
No. Oh, makes me want a hot dog
Real bad. How have you been? How's life? What's new?
Pretty good. Honestly, a lot has happened. It was my boyfriend's birthday, so we did a little trip together.
Ooh, happy birthday, boyfriend.
Yeah, happy birthday, William.
Oh,
last name, social security number, credit card number. But
it's like, look him up right now.
Yeah. And then, yeah, no, honestly, it's been pretty good. I've been in a good mood overall.
That's good. I feel like there's good vibes going on. I feel like the energy in the world is kind of starting to calm down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It felt very, like, heavy. You know, like, when the holiday stress comes up, I feel like I already went through that, and I don't know why. I think maybe because my mom's coming to visit, and I have to schedule my entire life weeks in advance, and, like, reservations and dinners, and she always wants to do something, which is fine, but, like, now I had to book out places, and it just exposed where I live.
I'll bleep that.
Okay, thank you.
I'll put it over going, specific place Caroline was not supposed to say.
That's already that threw me off. But now I feel like I'm calmed down because I have everything settled. But I'm also moving soon, so that's a lot of stress.
Yes.
I don't know if I've talked about that yet.
No.
I'm moving soon, everybody. Finally. Celebrate good times. Come on. Getting out of this roach-infested, neighbor-stealing, dirty garbage lane, creepy neighbor-ass place. And I'm so excited. I feel like it'll be a good fresh start for me.
Yeah, no, I feel like things are really looking up for both you and me.
Yeah.
I personally think it's the calm before the holiday storm. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting, because it's not, as we're recording this, it's November, like middle of November. So it's not, oh my gosh, I have to get all these presents and I have to start wrapping and that. It's more of, okay, what are my Thanksgiving plans versus, I don't know, after Black Friday, I feel so stressed because there's so much planning.
And also so much work to get done before the holidays.
Oh my gosh.
Too.
Why corporate people who are potentially CEOs or high executives, why are all major deadlines at the end of the year?
Yeah, I agree. But on the bright side, the government opened back up, so
Yay!
I hadn't booked out a Christmas plane yet because I'm like, I don't even know if I'll be able to go on it yet. It's going to be so expensive.
Yeah.
So now that it's opened back up, I'm hoping maybe prices will go down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll actually be able to travel, which is nice.
Right. Yeah, that was getting a little bit scary, especially for Thanksgiving travel and Christmas travel. Also, that was such a long time that these people had to kind of just keep working.
Yeah. Big shout out to people who work within any sort of government sanctioned job, but especially TSA with the government shutdown. Y'all who worked, even though you probably weren't getting paid at all, I'm pretty sure. Huge shout out to you guys. You guys deserve the biggest bonus plus in the world. Yeah. Big shout out to you guys. You freaking rock. You are the real heroes in this situation. And I want you to know that if any TSA people are listening. And our one Russian viewer, I looked at our discovery of our viewers, and there's somebody from Russia, so shout out to you from the motherland.
I was gonna say, I wish I knew Russian. I only know Polish, so
well, we do have a Polish viewer.
Okay, dzień dobry.
If you are Polish, leave a comment below and respond to that.
yeah, respond, say I don't know, Jabba,
right,
frog. Anyways, yeah.
On the flip side, I'm very excited for today's episode. This was an interesting idea that I feel like we kind of came up with, not last minute, but it wasn't one of our first ideas to talk about. And that's just the overall idea of storytelling. What makes a good story a story, and I guess what are our own interpretations of that. And to kind of kick this off, I wrote a poem 100% by myself. No chat GPT, no AI. I wrote this. And I wanted to kind of kick off the creative juices of storytelling. Okay. All right. So I'm going to read it for you guys right now. This is the first time it's ever been heard. It's my debut. Unreleased. So, ready? It's about our podcast, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Coworker Calamity. Oh.
Sorry, let me just wake up.
Oh, it's titled Coworker Calamity.
Okay.
Coworker Calamity. Coworker Calamity. Two women discussing worldwide insanity. We do our best to hold back our profanity, but it's hard to when discussing the state of humanity. Coworker Calamity, Coworker Calamity. Our friends may think this is a form of vanity, and you may wonder, do they look like manatees or come from strange backgrounds and wayward families? Coworker Calamity, Coworker Calamity. Our podcast will do absolutely outstandingly. And to naysayers who think damnably and hate that we speak so candidly, you don't have to be part of the Calamity family.
Cue applause sound effect right now. That was so good. What? Wow.
Are you being serious?
Yes. The part with the family, it was good. I love a good poem. I just love poems.
I am a poet at heart. If somebody asked me, like, who are you? I would say I'm a poet. And really? I know it.
There is, oh my gosh. I'll have to get back to you maybe in the next episode about this one author, but I was obsessed with getting their books, and it was, R.H. Sin. R.H.S.I.N.
R.H. Sin. What have they written?
Whiskey, Words, and a Shovel. They make a ton of really short poems, but very good, and I loved the aesthetic of them.
Is it the one, like, Milk and Honey?
No, lady? That's Ruby Kaur?
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Hate that. And let's not talk about Miss, oh my god, what's her name? There are babies. There are babies dying. Do you know that TikTok?
Yes, I can't remember.
What is her name? While there are babies that are dying.
I don't know, I just keep thinking Gabby Hanna. I think she did poetry too.
Gabby? I think it is Gabby.
Is it Gabby Hanna?
Yes, it's Gabby Hanna. Anyways, that was a total... Anyways, no, that was a good poem. Thank you. I think the flow was good, and it was fun, it was silly, but it was also... It kind of perfectly summarized our podcast.
Honestly, yeah, and I think it's hard to rhyme with the word calamity, by the way.
You did great. You were damnedly...
Yeah, I had to do a little Eminem there where I take words that don't
exist.
Well, damnably kind of exists, I think, but technically damnably and calamity don't have the same spelling, but sonically,
what is it?
Phonetically, yeah, they sound the same.
Rhyme. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that was supposed to be a joke, but I appreciate your kind words.
I was eating that up. I really was. I was eating that up.
Well, I'll sell those on something.
I was gonna say, very small crowd that you're gonna have to sell that poem to, but I am the one buyer. I will buy that poem. I'll put it on my wall. I have I'm getting a cork board for my wall.
She is. It's gonna look so beautiful.
And it's coming today.
You know what you should do? You should put our logo up there.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
I wanna print a bunch out, not on the work printer.
No, we wouldn't ever use our work.
I own a printer.
Yeah.
I own ink. I own all the cartridges. I own paper, and I print at home.
I've never printed anything at work. Anywho, enough of that sidetrack. Let's get back to the real.
Yeah, let me just have one big gulp of my coffee. Wait, ready?
You guys don't understand. We got the best coffee ever. Isa lives next to this coffee place. It's not a chain that I know of, right? It's not a chain.
There's 2 locations.
There's 2 locations, so it's on its way up. Yeah. But it has the best coffee, and it's my favorite coffee. I almost said fast food coffee, but drive-through coffee.
Yeah, it's drive-through quick service coffee. But
it is so good.
The portions amazing. A medium is a Dunkin' Large.
Dunkin' Large, and the people there are so youthful and young and nice, and it just reminds me that there are people, good people in the world.
Life is good again.
Yeah, and they were playing Avril Lavigne's Complicated on the speaker. It was everything. Anyways, you're right. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked on our stories.
We just tell too many.
Which I think
so many to tell.
is hopefully a good thing, right? But I wanted to ask you, what do you think makes a good story? Is there a difference between the way that story is presented via film or animation versus reading, writing? And if there is a huge difference, what do you think is the most important qualities of both?
So, yeah, I actually always loved to do storytelling. When I was really young, I would actually write stories. One of them being I was a 5th grader, and it was about Skydive's Minecraft. And I wrote like 3 full composition books worth of Skydive's Minecraft. I had an obsession, if you will, on Minecraft YouTube. But anyways, so I always wrote a ton of stories. I always had a very vivid imagination. I loved watching movies, and hence why I loved storytelling in college. I would say storytelling for film, everything revolves around time, and on top of that, it's visually. There's a visual storytelling element, and then, of course, there's the script. And time again, you will go and sit and watch a movie, beautiful, stunning visuals, because there's no clear vision and the script isn't well done, the movie falls flat. It needs to be balanced. You need to have a lot of visual indication. A bad story is when the storyteller thinks the audience is stupid, first of all. A bad story is when there is a character on screen, and instead of having the character physically pick up the phone and hesitate to press a few buttons, the character goes, I shouldn't call. I don't know if I should call. I'm a little bit hesitant to call.
It's like the show don't tell.
Yeah. It's very much, because you have that whole you have total control, and you have this whole additional element in your story where you could really, 1, save time by just showing something, and 2, add a lot of characterization. And that's why actors also need to be good. The script needs to allow for actors to breathe, but at the same time it needs to have good direction. There's so much to storytelling in film and in animation as well, because you want that script to be tight, so then you can start storyboarding, which is technically, storyboarding is like scripting but for the visual side. Animators don't just start with nothing. There's a boarded out plan where they can see, okay, the shot here is going to be over the shoulder, and then it's going to go back here. They need to check for the 180 rule. They need to check to see if it's too disorienting. So it's like an
outline, but
visual outline. And a good story is planned. When you get to books, which I was also a book girly, love my romantasy. I do not like the Fourth Wing series though.
I also fell off from that. I couldn't get through the second one. Yeah,
and that's just because I don't think it was well planned. And also, you need to know your genre. You need to understand the nuances of each genre. You need to understand that a reader who likes romance, doesn't care much for extensive world building and a ton of these strange land names and very poor descriptions of what anything is, and they're just saying words. And I'll cut my thing short because I'm talking way too much about it. But a great example would be the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. Love it, very great books, continuously great series. Rick Riordan was one of the writers for the Percy Jackson Disney Plus show, and as you can see, what works in books does not work in shows or movies, because in the Percy Jackson show, the pacing, terrible. The talking, too much. It was a whole bunch of just exposition through the characters, explaining things, talking about things, and it was just too much. Unfortunately, the show was great. I watched it, and I'm excited for the new season.
I do agree. I feel like, too, with the show, compared to the books, the show did just a ton of talking, not enough explaining. Where at least the books, they did stuff, Like, I felt like they took out a ton of important elements of...
Right. If you're making a show, now you have visuals to back up writing, and it's really solid foundation, great world building. You have so much power to, make the action sequences stunning, have a lot more characterization, have smaller moments between characters that are unspoken, because once again, you don't need to explain everything the way you do in a book.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so much to it. I can talk about storytelling for hours. I love a good story. I love diving into a different world.
I think it's funny that you said you wrote a lot as a kid, because I've written pretty much my entire life, and when I was a kid I used to write like movie scripts, because I think as a child, when you don't have an extensive vocabulary, it's easier to write within a visual component, but on paper. So I used to do that a lot as a kid, but then as I grew up I started writing just a lot more for fun. And I think in some ways, like, I really was put on this earth to be a storyteller, whether it's verbally or written or whatever it is. I think that's just a gift that I've had, and a gift that I need to develop and express to the world. But I think one thing that I always fell in love with stories is, especially written stories, is the verbiage, I guess, of it, and like the way sonically something can sound so good that it almost becomes like music, but it's read, and it's such an interesting understand. And I think that's why I love poetry so much too, because it's like a song for people who can't sing, like myself, where like, I wish I could sing, because then I would write some like banger music. But
okay, Taylor Swift.
I can almost... Oh, wait, that's Miley Cyrus. Started singing The Climb. But yeah, I think that storytelling is one of the most powerful tools somebody could use. And especially when you have, movies, of course, but even books, I feel like, can stand the test of time. When maybe there's no more... what if we lost technology or something? You still have history books, right? Books. So that can last forever. Yeah, in some ways, and I think there's something really powerful about that.
Thinking about all the classics that you read in school, George Orwell.
I was just about to say, he was so ahead of his time. Every time I like read 1984 or even Animal Farm, I read that in like 7th grade, because I went to like this classical education school, so we read Animal Farm really young. I think it was like not the kids version, but like a more kid version, I guess. Such a crazy book.
Yeah, no, Animal Farm and Lord of the Flies are up there for me in terms of... I
never read that one. I know what it's about, obviously.
Yeah, it honestly led a lot of foundations for shows that are, or movies, or books now that are very much... popularized by, I don't know. But I do agree with you about the timelessness part of it. Yeah, because super ahead of its time, and even Fahrenheit 451 being as important as ever in regards to banning books, getting rid of books,
banning knowledge,
and how are these people fighting that in this story and stuff like that just really is interesting. And I always loved English class. I loved reading the books. I don't know if you ever read Beloved. Oh my gosh, why am I forgetting the author's name? I guess I didn't love it that much, but no. Beloved was really good. It was a very serious book about African American woman who in slavery times, and she had to kill her baby because they were going to take it, and she decided that the life that the baby was going to have was going to be worse if it was alive with them than if she just killed it. Yeah. And it's kind of a horror where the baby's kind of haunting her, and it's so good. I think it was great, and everyone hated it, and they were like, this sucks, this is really lame.
Why? Because they thought it was like sad and depressing.
Well, it was a hard book to get into. Toni Morrison.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, there you go. Sorry, it's Toni Morrison. It's a very complex book, and I can see where a lot of people fall off on it, because the pacing is really odd, and some chapters are really disorientating, and the story is not as linear, I think. Yeah. It's a challenging book to read. I remember having to go back and refresh myself and reread certain chapters just because I felt like I didn't get it the first time, but I really wanted to. I really like the story, but stuff like that, where I think it's such an important tool to learn how to dissect a book and dissect stories and write your own.
It's a way to promote and to kind of explain empathy to people who don't really have a strong sense of empathy, because you're able to view a completely different world from a different person's eyes. And that is really powerful in it itself. I also think, for me personally, I am able to understand and grasp concepts and work through my own issues or whatever it is through books because I'm able to understand different lenses through that way, if that makes sense. Like, for have you ever read The Alchemist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that is, for me, is a great example of understanding as a human and human nature why we go through trials and tribulations and why it's important that we do suffer. And for those of you who haven't read it, obviously, please go read it. It's a great book, but it's about this boy who is a shepherd. He is living a very calm, normal life, and he keeps getting a dream about treasure buried somewhere in Egypt. And eventually he follows the calling and travels across the world, and he goes through so many, like, difficulties, almost dies multiple times, blah, 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 and finally gets all the way to Egypt. And once he's in Egypt, he's looking for the treasure, and he gets there, but right before he's about to dig it up, he gets, like, apprehended by these soldiers, and then they're like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? And he's like, I keep having dreams about, like, the treasure being buried here. And they laugh at him and make fun of him for, like, following his dreams and coming all the way here. And the main guy who's there, he's just like, oh, that's funny you say that. I keep having dreams about treasure being buried in a church with the roof open. And that's, side note, I probably explained this poorly, but that's where he started. He used to live in that church before. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, what the fuck? Why did I come all the way here? I go through all those things just for the treasure to be exactly where I started. And it's because he came back a different person. Mm-hmm. And those type of lessons can only, in my opinion, really be understood through, like, metaphors and, like, understanding things. And that's why I think storytelling is so important. Because it opens up your horizon to a completely new set of thinking.
Yeah, and interpreting a story with an open mind as well. Mm-hmm. Time and time again, people will watch a movie or read a book and they'll be like, oh, the ending sucked. Oh, this sucked. But did it really? Or was it trying to say something? Was it trying to tell you something? Do all stories need to have a good ending? What does it mean when it doesn't? What is the good that comes out of a story? Stuff like that, where it's really important to just not be so close-minded when you're watching media and really making sure that you're interpreting it well. And of course, there are movies, like we just saw the third Now You See Me movie last night.
Yeah.
Some movies you're just supposed to turn off your brain and really just watch it.
It's just supposed to be entertaining.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to have this underlying secret meaning of life, you know?
Right, like, oh my god, A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yeah.
For me, was that series well written? I don't think so. Not a fan of Sarah J. Maas, but I will be sad for the books.
Look, I gotta be honest, I read all of them. Are there parts that left with, like, holes in the story? Absolutely. Was I sad the entire time? Absolutely. Because it was entertaining and it was fun.
Exactly.
Sometimes that's all that is meant to be in a story.
You're supposed to enjoy it first and then interpret it second.
And if you want to, like, interpret things or whatever, again, it's without bias, because as soon as you enter your own bias, maybe you'll find some sort of hidden light in there, but you're kind of missing the point that the book is not from your eyes. It's from somebody else's, and you're missing the valuable nature of that when you approach stories that way, I think.
I agree. Anyway, there is a story that got really popular on Reddit, and because you do have an education in writing, I want you to pick this apart and dissect it. Because this story I like for many reasons, but also I don't like for many reasons. And I think this story is intriguing because it's very much mysterious. There's a lot of foundations that make it an interesting story, you know? So I wanted to read it to you.
All right.
Because, ow, my hip cracked. Did you hear that? If you've heard, like, cracking, that has been me this whole time.
Look, Isa's a Lego. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh. Yeah. Oh my god, I lost the tab. Hold on. This is a story that was popular 10 years ago, and it's on r/no sleep. It is called Search and Rescue Woods. Well, no, sorry. The user that posted it was Search and Rescue Woods. And the title is, I'm a search and rescue officer for the U.S. Forest Service, and I have some stories to tell. So, basically, randomly posted on a no sleep subreddit, and
you're supposed to interpret this as like, oh, this is a true story type of thing. So anyways.
So it's not true though? Or we don't know?
We don't know.
Oh.
We don't know. Okay. I'm a search and rescue officer for the U.S. Forest Service, and I have some stories to tell. I wasn't sure where else to post these stories, so I figured I'd share them here. I've been a search and rescue officer for a few years now, and along the way, I've seen some things that I think you guys will be interested in. 1. I have a pretty good track record for finding missing people. Most of the time, they just wander off the path or slip down a small cliff, and they can't find their way back. The majority of them have heard the old stay where you are thing, and they don't wander far. But I've had 2 cases where that didn't happen. Both bother me a lot, and I use them as motivation to search even harder on the missing persons cases I get called on. The first was a little boy who was out berry picking with his parents. He and his sister were together, and both of them went missing around the same time. Their parents lost sight of them for a few seconds, and in that time, both the kids apparently wandered off. When their parents couldn't find them, they called us, and we came out to search the area. We found the daughter pretty quickly, and when we asked where her brother was, she told us he'd been taken away by the bear man. She said he gave her berries and told her to stay quiet, that he wanted to play with her brother for a while. The last she saw of her brother, he was riding on the shoulders of the bear man and seemed calm. Of course, our first thought was abduction, but we never found a trace of another human being in that area. The little girl was also insistent that he wasn't a normal man, and that he was tall and covered in hair, like a bear, and that he had a weird face. We searched that area for weeks, and it was one of the longest calls I've ever been on, but we never found a single trace of that kid. The other was a young woman who was out hiking with her mom and grandpa. According to the mother, her daughter climbed up a tree to get a better view of the forest. She never came back down. They waited at the base of the tree for hours calling her name before they called for help again. We searched everywhere, and we never found a trace of her. I have no idea where she could possibly have gone because neither her mother or her grandpa saw her calm down. Yeah. Thoughts? You want to keep going?
Well, first I like the setting because it is common knowledge that a lot of people do go missing in natural parks and whatnot. The first story, interesting because the only witness is a child who, if you are familiar with true crime or anything, this is a common occurrence within children viewing any sort of crime or thing, that it's a lot of times distorted because they don't have a full understanding of what they saw. So I think that's an interesting way to put it. Since it is a shorter story, the amount of exposition I think was perfect and it was paced well. The second one, I think it was kind of stupid. It's like, first of all, you're saying this mom and this grandpa waited at a base tree for hours, and 1, nobody tried to climb up to see if she was okay. Or 2, I would be, as a police officer, I'd be sus of them. Like, oh, really? She climbed up a tree and disappeared? I'd be like, so what did you do with her? Come on.
Why didn't they climb up?
Yeah.
If she was able to climb up
why'd you wait
easily,
hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's just like, or like, that's what I would immediately sus them. I'd be like, they did something. And they came up with this really elaborate story. Anyways, keep going.
Okay, that's a good point. Okay. 2, one particularly sad case involved the recovery of a body. A 9-year-old girl fell down an embankment and got impaled on a dead tree at the base. It was a complete freak accident, but I'll never forget the sound her mother made when we told her what had happened. She saw the body bag being loaded into the ambulance, and she let out the most haunting, heartbroken wail I've ever heard. It was like her whole life was crashing down around her, and a part of her had died with her daughter. I heard from another search and rescue officer that she had killed herself a few weeks after it happened. She couldn't live with the loss of her daughter. Why was I so bad at reading that one?
It's okay.
Jesus. Oh my God. I was off to a great start. But that was pretty short, so I'll keep going to number 3. I was teamed up with another search and rescue officer because we received reports of bears in the area. We were looking for a guy who hadn't come home from a climbing trip when he was supposed to, and we ended up having to do some serious climbing to get where we figured he'd be. We found him trapped in a small crevice with a broken leg. It was not pleasant. He'd been there for almost 2 days, and his leg was very obviously infected. We were able to get him into the chopper, and I heard from one of the EMTs that the guy was absolutely inconsolable. He kept talking about how he'd been doing fine, and when he got into the top, a man had been there. He said the guy had no climbing equipment, and he was wearing a parka and ski pants. He walked up to the guy, and when the guy turned around, he said he had no face. It was just blank. He freaked out and ended up trying to get off the mountain too fast, which is why he had fallen. He said he could hear the guy all night, climbing down the mountain and letting out these horrible muffled screams. That story bothered the hell out of me. I'm glad I wasn't there to hear it.
Yeah, that would freak me out. I'd be like, okay, maybe this guy's dehydrated. He, like, clearly is really injured. Maybe he's just hallucinating.
The part where he heard him going up and down the mountain.
Screaming.
That part is kind of...
Hell no. Nuh-uh.
No.
First of all, though, he has no face. So, like I'm going to sneak up on him then. This guy has no eyes, no mouth.
Right.
How does he know where he's going? Maybe that's why he's screaming, because he's lost.
Yeah.
He's just like, I need help. But how's he screaming?
Right. No, scary things.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's a longer chunk. Okay. What am I at? 4? 5? Okay. One of the scariest things I've ever had happen to me involved the search for a young woman who'd gotten separated from her hiking group. We were out until late at night because the dogs had picked up her scent. When we found her, she was curled up under a large rotted log. She was missing her shoes and pack, and she was clearly in shock. She didn't have any injuries, and we were able to get her to walk with us back to the base ops. Along the way, she kept looking behind us and asking us why that big man with black eyes was following us. We couldn't see anyone, so we just wrote it off as some weird symptom of shock, but the closer we got to the base, the more agitated this woman got. She kept asking me to tell him to stop making faces at her. At one point, she stopped and turned around and started yelling into the forest, saying that she wanted him to leave her alone. She wasn't going to go with him, she said. She wouldn't give us to him. We finally got her to keep moving, but we started hearing these weird noises coming from all around us. It was almost like coughing, but more rhythmic and deeper. It was almost insect-like. I don't really know how else to describe it. When we were within sight of base ops, the woman turns to me. Her eyes were just about as wide as I can imagine a human could open them. She touches my shoulder and she says, "He says to tell you to speed up. He doesn't like looking at the scar on your neck." I have a very small scar on the base of my neck, but it's mostly hidden under my collar, and I have no idea how this woman saw it. Right after she says it, I hear that weird coughing right in my ear, and I just about jumped out of my skin. I hustled her to ops, trying not to show how freaked out I was, but I have to say I was really happy when we left the area that night.
So he's scared of somebody with bronchitis who just wants some help.
I had bronchitis once.
Yeah, I know what a wet cough when I hear one.
Yeah, I was like, Okay, this is the last one. This is the last one I'll tell, and it's probably the weirdest story I have. Now, I don't know if this is true in every search and rescue unit, but in mine, it's sort of an unspoken regular thing we run into. You can try asking about it with other search and rescue officers, but even if they know what you're talking about, they probably won't say anything about it. We've been told not to talk about it by our superiors. And at this point, we've all gotten so used to it that it doesn't even seem weird anymore. On just about every case where we're really far into the wilderness, I'm talking like 30, 40 miles, at some point we'll find a staircase in the middle of the woods. It's almost like if you look at the stairs in your house, cut them out, and put them in the forest. I asked about it the first time I saw some. The other officer told me just to not worry about it, that it was normal. Everyone I asked said the same thing. I wanted to go check them out, but I was told very empathetically that I should never go near any of them. I just sort of ignore them now when I run into them because it happens so frequently. I have a lot more stories, and I suppose if anyone's interested, I'll tell some of them tomorrow. If anyone has any theories about the stairs, or if you've seen them too, let me know. And then that's the end of part 1. There's a part 2.
I mean, I think if he was gonna, like, because obviously this is under the assumption this is all fake and this person's just creative writing. I mean, I don't believe it, but I feel like he would have been better off just telling like 3 really good ones that went into details, like, as opposed to like 6 like semi, you know, like from a story writing perspective, because then you could have elongated the details maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Give some more like exposition on why this person's credible at all. Beyond, I was a park ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where were you a park ranger? If you can't say the area, at least say like the country or the part of the country or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't think it was very good.
Yeah, no, it definitely aged a lot. But when this first came out 10 years ago, oh boy.
It popped off.
It popped off. A lot of people compared it to David Paulides, which was an author who also kind of does Appalachia, search and rescue, Stare in the Woods, actually. The Stare in the Woods is a very common thing.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too.
Yeah. But this era of storytelling was very much, I want to make something creepy on the internet, creepypasta, and I want to make it seem true when it's not. And during that era, you have things like the Backrooms being made, and Slender Man, and all of these
Skinwalkers.
Yeah, all of these tales about things, and the internet being new. People had a lot of trust in what everyone was saying.
Yeah.
So I think this story on r/no sleep inspired a lot of people to continue writing horror stories. So it was kind of like this story walked so a lot of other writers can feel inspired to run.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I will say I do think that idea of writing horror is a really interesting side of author ship, I guess. And I mean, Stephen King is a big starter of that, really. And like, it's a difficult thing to write. Like, how do you make words creepy, you know?
Yeah, I always struggle to read horror, but actually I highly recommend Paul Tremblay. He writes short stories, and genuinely, when I was reading them, some actually genuinely freaked me out.
Really?
Yeah. I think the best way to do it is have the character in perspective, like work in a character's perspective that has anxieties and fears, and you know them.
Yeah.
And keep them similar to what anyone else's fears could be, and really like touch into that. But yeah, I don't know, I would say horror can get really stupid really quick, and this is a great example of how it's such a great idea, but the execution.
I was about to say that I could see a full like book of like from the POV of somebody who is either, I mean, I think there's a video game about that where like the guy's a new park ranger or something, just starts
There's
and then
so
weird stuff is going on, but it was like satanic rituals in the forest. But I think like a book perspective, that could be really interesting. Like, you just joined the team, so they know about just as much as us as the reader, and then you learn that throughout the entire thing. That could be really interesting. I just don't know if like that's, I mean, I like the idea, and I think it's fun. I just also don't love like the whole catfish baitiness of Reddit in general, with like that type of stuff where people just lie, or like, am I the asshole, that type of stuff, where I'm like, come on. Yeah, no, I think that's interesting, and I think there could be something with that. I don't know if they're still
and
writing.
I think this guy wanted to do a book related to it. I don't know how far that went, but he has multiple parts, I think 6 total. And it does get a little bit better. Yeah. In the sense that he took a lot of feedback. He saw what people kind of latched onto more and expanded on that. So, yeah, I think he was just writing for fun. But
and honestly, love effective. That. That's like the point, right? Yeah. If you enjoy doing it and people are receptive to it, then who cares if it's perfect, you know?
And that's why I kind of love storytellers on Reddit, because anyone could post a story on Reddit. You know, you can filter. Oh my god, I combined sort and filter. Yeah, you can, anyone could write it and anyone could read it. Very much similar to Wattpad. Archive of Our Own is a little bit, Archive of Our Own? Yeah, is a little bit, you have to like make an account, you gotta like join the wait list.
Yeah, true.
I never did that.
Lit erotica.
Oh, what's that?
It's for smut. Oh, not that I know anything about that, obviously. Yeah, I just heard it through the grapevine as somebody who, is really into writing, and I like to know all my sources. But I was gonna say too, I enjoy people who just enjoy writing without the expectation of it even being seen like that. He probably didn't expect people to like it or read it, right? And I think that's so fun, because it's like, I've said this before, and it's something I really learned through one of my classes in college. When you write or create art in general, for it to be seen by people, something in it dies when you have that intention of doing that, if that makes sense. The best art in the world is art, in my opinion, or writing, or whatever it is, that you never intended to show anybody. It was just a honest reflection of what you were trying to say.
Yeah. You weren't pressured.
Yeah, because a lot of times when things become commoditized or they're being created to see, especially within freaking Hollywood or industries in general, where they want you to include certain components or change things in order to be more receptive to viewership.
Fan service.
Yeah, really, people aren't gonna like that because that's too disturbing, or they're not gonna like that because there's not enough romance or action or whatever it is. Like, I understand that they're coming from a place of just trying to make money, but that's why I really like people who just go out there and do what they want and they don't really care.
Yeah.
And like that's fun.
Sometimes those are the best projects that you see.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh my god, yeah. I've read some like fan fictions, dude, that were better than the books they wrote the fan fiction about.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah. I'm like, what the
The literary genius that are fan fiction writers, especially for I don't even know, probably Harry Potter.
Oh, like Manacles? You ever read Manacles?
Yeah, and Harry Potter, Twilight, lots of fan fiction for Twilight.
There was such a good one I read for Hunger Games. I forget what it's called. Or no, it's called like A World Without You, and it's from the perspective of Annie. What's her last name? Annie. I was supposed to say Annie Green. Finnick and Annie, like in the books.
Yes.
It's their story from her perspective. It's so good, dude. It's so good. And I think it's also because I'm a fan of like the original work and like those characters. But I'm telling you, people put in their heart and souls. They get into like 8 car crashes and they're like, sorry guys, I was away. Like my parents died, but I'm back now.
Yeah, literally. Or there were times where the author dies and someone on the comments is like, she wanted me to finish. She wanted me to finish the story. And I'm like, damn. Imagine like literally laying in your deathbed and you're like, I need you to finish my Star Wars fan fiction. Yeah.
That's like the type of like love these people put into it though, and that's the real treasure of like art.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love hearing stories from the people, and I also love picking up a book, but I also love reading stories online for that reason. It's just a different culture, it's a different vibe. Love it. But what would you say, what is your favorite genre, and what is your favorite book from that genre, and why?
That's such a freaking hard question, dude. I don't know if I even have a favorite book. I will say I tend to get drawn towards like fantasy dystopian, partly one because I grew up with that stuff, but also I just like the fantastical nature of worlds because you can really create anything you want, but if it's based in the real world, that's when you're limited in terms of imagination in some ways, which is why I like it, because it's also, you get to make it more verbiage wise, more colorful, more grandiose, and I think that can like sound really cool and fun. In terms of like favorite books, I genuinely don't think I could pick one. I have books because of nostalgia, but it's funny that it's brought that up because I used to be like, oh, my favorite John Green book was Looking for Alaska, and I reread it and I was like, this kind of sucks. Like, why did I ever love this one so much?
Paper Towns.
Oh, I never read that one.
Oh, same thing. Ugh.
But yeah, it's like not good, but then I thought it was good because I think I grew up with that, and it was an intro to, I guess, reading and stuff. And I will say my favorite like sci-fi type of thing is called oh my god, literally the worst fan ever. It's by Pierce Brown. What is it? It's called Red Rising. Have you ever heard of those books?
I was so close to getting it.
Dude, that's one of my favorite like series ever. It's written really well, but also like the characters in the arc, because it is like sci-fi fantasy, so it is like kind of grandiose names. Oh my god, I thought that one was written really well and really interesting, and an interesting world, and really, really good themes about like systematic oppression. I mean, even like racism, really, because it's like everyone's divided by whatever color they're born into in this world, and the main character was born into like the red level, so they basically like have to mine their entire lives. That's how they make their living. They never have enough food or anything, and he basically goes under this like procedure to become like a gold, which is people at the top, and it's like really painful, and he suffers a lot, and he has to learn all these things in order to like blend in, but he's doing it for like a undercover like rebel group, whatever, but it's quite literally him fighting oppression, not only systematically like rising up, but in the end proving that doesn't matter where you come from or who you are, that you have capabilities of doing anything that you set your mind to, and prejudice and racism or whatever it is can be overcome with that like sense of self and that sense and that bravery and courage. It's just a really good book, so I highly recommend that.
I was gonna say,
if you like
kind
sci-fi.
of sold that for me. Because it was on my Goodreads wish list kind of vibe, and
I've only read the first 3. I know there's more than that, but I've read the first 3. I think are like a perfect trilogy.
They're contained.
Yeah, they're contained. I think the story does go further on after that, but you can only read the first 3 in my opinion, and the story's done if you want.
Okay.
Highly recommend though.
Okay.
What about you? Do you have a favorite
book? I always go back to The Six of Crows.
Love Six of Crows.
Love
I actually
it.
read that one for the first time this year.
Really?
Yeah.
It's good. I love the characters. I love Leigh Bardugo. Leigh Bardugo? Lee Bardugo. But she's a great author.
She does a great job.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Her ability to characterize and just make really well fleshed out, rounded characters is amazing. You know, Kaz Brecker, Inej,
Hey, I know that's right.
the way that their romance, I couldn't even call it that, but their tension between the two of them surpasses the majority of romance books I read today.
Yeah.
But the world building,
so good.
very good.
Sorry, I just looked at my phone to see the time and it's 11:11. Ooh. And on that note, we're probably gonna wrap up here because we're looking at an hour, but let us know your favorite books. Give us recommendations. I'm always trying to find new ones, so if you have any, please send them, because I am really trying to get back into reading and my love for stories again, and this might just be the reason for it. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please follow us at Coworker Calamity on Instagram. We also have a brand new TikTok at Coworker Calamity as well. Give us a follow on there. We post podcasts every single Wednesday at 10 a.m. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
So long.
Bye.
Oh, I really want to